Hey, John Hickok here. So I want to show you guys today my birthday present. I got this really special birthday present. And I want to do an unboxing video. I don't think I've ever done an unboxing video before, so I thought this would be an appropriate opportunity to do that. As you can see, the box says High Point Firearms. Gives you some clues to what might be inside. And we have 45 ACP on the outside. All right, let's see what we got. Look at that. A High Point. Can you believe it? So for my birthday, I got the High Point in 45, and I haven't even really hardly looked at it a whole lot. So I don't even know much about it. I just thought this would be kind of a cool video just to unbox it. I hadn't even fired it yet. I have fired a 9mm High Point, that one of those ones we had laying around, because that's what High Points do. They just lay around. It's not something you like protect. I mean, you put it in a safe to keep the other people away from it because it is a real gun. But if it wasn't like a thing that could potentially cause harm to someone else, you'd just, I don't know, leave it on the back porch, or you'd have them laying in the back seat of your car or in the back of the truck or whatever. I mean, they're kind of disposable in a way. You could just every week you just buy a new gun. But I think they retail like 150 bucks, something like that. Which, 150 bucks is not nothing, but for a gun, that's pretty cheap. So it's the model JHP 45 ACP. Like I said, never shot this gun, never shot the 45 version, so I thought I would just kind of try it on video. I'll see how it goes. Got the magazine here. First impressions, it seems about like the magazine of a $150 gun, but doesn't necessarily seem like it wouldn't work. And that's the thing about High Points. I know just enough to know that these things have really good reputations. They're known to be functional and reliable, which I will say, if they set out to make a gun this cheap, I mean, they chose the correct priorities, definitely. But the reason that, I always encourage anyone to do their best to save up and try to get something that, at least into that like $300 range or $250 or something, you start getting into stuff that is actually the size it's supposed to be, because that's the big thing with these guns is, yeah, they might work, but they are huge and they're single stacks. That's the big disadvantage. People call them cordless drill, stuff like that. So I mean, that slide is like I mean, it's like all the negatives of a Desert Eagle with no real advantages whatsoever. Just it's like a regular single stack handgun in a Desert Eagle's skin. Okay, I'll stop trashing it. So in the box we've got a piece of styrofoam, so if High Point is all you can afford, this might actually be really useful to you for some purpose. I don't know. I'll get this little I like this chamber flag right here. That's just it. That's all it is. Okay, that's interesting. And get this plastic bag. You could put sandwiches in that or something like that. We got some paper. If all you can afford is a High Point, more than likely you don't have a house or anything like that. So kindling is always good if you're living on the street. Get a little fire going. It comes with free tools. That's kind of cool. And stop! You shouldn't have bought this gun. You can do better. Must read instruction sheet. And we've got this little. Look at that. You can get one with a camo grip. Look at this, like N64 level graphics. Interesting. Okay. Well, there you go. There's the unboxing, so you know what's in it. So let's load up the magazine here and shoot some bullets out of this thing. I actually got two. Dad picked up a couple magazines, extra magazines, from when we do the video on the main channel. As far as loading it, it's a 45 ACP, so it kind of reminds me of a 1911 magazine, and it kind of has a little bit of that profile as far as being kind of thin sheet metal and just the way the rounds go in and everything. It doesn't have one of those followers that kind of nosedives, so that's something. Pretty easy to load. Should have counted and see, make sure it holds all of them. The gun police are coming to get me for shooting a High Point. Before I shoot this thing, I want to also remind you to go to budsgunshop.com. You guys know we work with them. We appreciate everything they do for us. budsgunshop.com, and also SDI, the Sonoran Desert Institute. If you're interested in gunsmithing, if you want to learn how to make a gun that's better than this, go check their website out. And also the NRA, please join the NRA if you have not done that yet. And go down to the link in the description to do that. And also we're shooting Federal American Eagle ammo. So appreciate all those people. All right. Just like it's so heavy at the top. Should probably put on earbuds. Even though it's a high point, it's still loud. All right. Okay. That was interesting. All right. I think we have a round in the chamber. Let's try this stop sign to remind you that if you think about buying a high point, you should immediately stop. Okay, so the weird thing about these huge chunks of metal is they actually shoot kind of decent. It didn't feel bad. I mean, it's got this massive slide, so it turns a 45 ACP into like a 25 ACP. So that's part of it. But it was pretty comfortable to shoot. The sights are not terrible. They're kind of weird looking. It's interesting that they chose, like, let's have orange on the back and yellow on the front. That'll make up for this terrible looking gun. But it doesn't shoot bad. The trigger is surprisingly not horrific. That's like the best thing I can say. It's one of the, if I were to take all the features of this gun, that's the one that's kind of doable. It's not terrible. All right, let's try another magazine. Except high point magazines are called clips, though. You have to call it a clip. Not really. Bad joke. Okay. There we go. Let's try some of the other targets. I'll shoot a few different things, and then I'll move over to the other hill. Start with the cowboy. Okay, I feel like, again, I mean, a pretty smooth shooting gun and relatively fun to shoot. It's not an unenjoyable experience. But something is hitting me right here on the knuckle. I don't know if it's the brass coming out. That's probably what it is. It's probably the brass coming out. It doesn't necessarily hurt. It's just something's clocking me right there. I guess it would have to be the brass. All right, let's try over there. And you've really got to slingshot this slide. I mean, see, it doesn't, partly because it's new maybe. And of course you got your safety right there. You know, it's like, it feels like it's just, I mean, ready to break. But apparently, I don't know, I've never heard of that being a problem with these though. Okay, let's try, wow, we don't have that big tombstone over there anymore. Okay, I'm gonna start on the propane tank, something big, and then I'm gonna try to hit some of the, like, I think that's like a 12-inch plate or something like that over there on the right. I'm either pulling it, probably I'm pulling it to the left, or the sights may be off, but probably it's me pulling it. Let me go ahead and try the gong. Oh, that was me, I know. Okay, I'm gonna load up one more magazine. I kind of want to hit the gong with it. One thing I remember being at the High Point booth one time a few years ago, just as a joke, and one of the guys was like, one of the guys gave us the sales pitch, and what's cool about this company though is they're very real about what they are. And honestly, I have fun picking on these guns because you compare them to other guns that most people buy, they're just like a joke. It's almost like someone just made this in their shop, you know, like John Browning like made this as a prank one year. And then someone picked it up and ran with it, is what it feels like. But they figured out a way to make a gun for like $150 that shoots. I mean, that's kind of impressive. And it's polymer. They were like one of the first, I think, American gun companies to make a polymer handgun, something like that. And they're very self-aware, the company is, about what they make, obviously. It's not like they're just unaware. Like they think that, like, I don't understand why people trash our guns. I mean, our guns are as good as whatever, other stuff. I don't know. But anyways, they're self-aware. They know what they make. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. Load up one more magazine. It's funny just to look at it. That's the funniest part about it, how it looks and feels and everything else. Okay. There we go. And I'm not just messing around with that. I mean, I really do have to try it a couple of times. It's one to hang up, but I do feel like that's probably because it's not broken in, just to give it the benefit of the doubt, because we know it needs it for sure. Okay, here we go, gong. I'm determined to hit the gong at least once on this magazine. There we go. All right, I'm gonna stop there. Okay, I don't know how many rounds I have left, maybe like 4 or maybe 5. I'm gonna try to crank them out fast. Okay, not bad. So yeah, that's kind of the deal with the High Point in general. Is it's like the cheapest gun you can buy, and they actually somewhat work, but everything about it is going to frustrate you, except for the fact that it does shoot, and it's somewhat comfortable to shoot, but not to hold or look at, basically. Just, you're going to want to, if you have one of these, create like a special place in your safe where you can hide it, so no one knows it. That way, if you're opening your safe while you have guests over, they don't like see it in there, something like that. But not a bad gun. And I don't mean to like make fun of it. If this legitimately is the only gun that you can afford, sure, go ahead and get a High Point. You've got something to arm yourself. But don't ever buy a High Point thinking like, this is it. This is my gun. Buy a High Point because it's what you need at the time. And then, be preparing to get something better. If you buy 2 High Points and it's the only 2 guns you have, like, what the hell? Like, you know what I mean? That makes no sense. Never do that. I mean, you might have 3 or 4 of them, but you've got other guns. But, there are better guns for not that much extra money. That's what I'm trying to say. But if literally this is all you can afford, then that's fine. But definitely, don't let anyone know that you have it, though. All right, I appreciate it, and I'll talk to you guys later.